Hello everyone. Today we'll be discussing about the subject called political science. The first chapter in 10th standard is called the working of Indian Constitution. Before we move on to this particular chapter, we will have a quick recap on what we have learned in 9th standard, which would include learning about what is constitution, what are elements or basic features of constitution, etc. This particular chapter has been divided into three sections. First, we will learn about democracy. Second, we will learn about social justice. And then third, we'll learn about judicial system. At the end of the chapter, we will have few questions which are given at the end of this chapter. Let us understand what we have studied in the 9th standard. Let's have a quick recap of it. What is Constitution? Constitution is a comprehensive document which contains the set of rules that describes the rights and duty of its citizens and the manner according to which governance of a country is carried out, which means it is the main document on the basis of the entire country is being run. That is the Constitution of India. Now, let us understand three important words which our Constitution talks about. The Constitution talks about three important words, which is secular, democratic, and republic. What is secular? Secular means not being biased towards any religion. It also means that the country or the state does not prescribe to any religion. So India does not prescribe to a Hindu or a Muslim or any of that religion for that matter. That means being secular. Secondly, democratic. It means the government is elected by the people, from the people, and for the people, and from amongst the people. Which means the government of India, that is the Prime Minister, is one of its citizens and he is elected by the people of the country and he works for the people of the country. That is a democratic country. The last part is republic. A country in which the power is elected by the people and where the head of the state is elected is called as republic. So India, we have a president who is elected by either people or indirectly through people's representative. That is why India is republic. Whereas UK is a monarchy because there the president or the queen is not elected. The next part will discuss about social justice and equality. Social justice is a concept of fair and just relation between the individual and the society. In other words, it means giving equal access to wealth, opportunity and privileges within a society to all its people. At the time of independence, there was a situation where there was a stratification where the rich were rich and poor are very poor. And the idea was that between this gap between rich and poor has to come down. And therefore, people who were not so rich, they had to be provided education and other employment opportunities so that they can come to the higher level. Equality means giving equal treatment to all the people of the country with respect to education, with respect to employment or any other matter. That is, we need to avoid creating a differentiation between people on the basis of class, caste, sex, religion or any other parameter. In the first section, we will talk about democracy. Democracy would include topics such as political maturity, right to vote, decentralization and right to information. Let's start with political maturity. Democracy does not mean to have a representative structure. It means we need to actually have the practice of democracy, which means we need to have larger representation in the state legislature or the parliament or the local government, which is possible only when we hold free and fair elections, and which is where people's participation is important. And today in India, there is a larger political participation, there is free and fair elections, and there is higher representation of people. And hence, we can say that today India has a political maturity. Second concept is right to vote. The Indian Constitution provides for right to vote for adults. Any person who is 18 years of age can vote for the general elections or the state elections or the local body elections. This has been written in the Constitution of India, and therefore it makes India the world's largest democracy. This is also called as the universal adult franchise, wherein we provide right to anyone above 18 years to vote, and therefore it strengthens the basic principle of democracy. The third concept is called as decentralization of democracy. What is decentralization? Centralization would mean, in a simple words, your dad and mom keeping all the decisions to themselves. Whereas decentralization would mean that they would give certain important decision for you to take, or they will delegate certain authority for decision making to you. Similarly, there is a central government and then there is a local body government or state government. So decentralization means giving authority to state government or a local body so that they can take higher decisions. So decentralization also enhances democratic participation because it involves more amount of people from a local level in decision making process. Right to information. Citizen empowerment is very important component of a democracy. The right to information actually gave the right to every citizens to seek information from the government. What it did is it ensures transparency in the government process and made the government more accountable. In the second part, we will study about social justice and equality. In this, we'll study the steps which were taken by government or non-government bodies to ensure social justice and equality. There are four main things under this. First is policy of reservation of seats. Second, the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Act. Third, provisions for minorities. And lastly, laws relating to women and provisions for their representation. Let us understand first what is social justice. As I initially told you, social justice would mean justice in terms of the social status. It would mean ending the discrimination on the basis of caste, creed, gender or any other parameter. So it is the idea to create a social and a just society which is giving equal opportunity to all its people. And in democracy, social justice is one of the important things. Therefore, let's start with understanding what all efforts India has made in this direction. The first part talks about policy of reservation of seats. There are certain sections of people such as scheduled caste and scheduled tribe who have traditionally been not given fair representation. Therefore, in order to and also not given enough opportunities in the field of education and employment, and therefore they are way backward. So in order to promote their education and employment, there is certain reservation which is provided in the field of education and employment related to government matters. The second step is called as the Scheduled Caste and Tribe Prevention of Atrocities Act. What it does is, this is an important act to create a social justice and equality. It prevents any kind of wrongdoing or injustice against people belonging to scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, and anyone who commits such a crime is liable for punishment under this act, and the punishment is very severe. The third thing is provision for minorities. The Indian Constitution also provides protection for minorities. The government has enacted several policies for protection of minorities as well as for their promotion of their education and employment. There is some amount of reservation which is also provided for people who belong to minorities. Lastly, laws related to women and provision for representation. after independence, efforts were taken for empowering women because there were a lot of problems which women were facing at the time of independence, some of which included sexual harassment, domestic violence, and dowry. There were a number of legislations or acts which were passed, such as Dowry Prohibition Act, Domestic Violence Prohibition Act, and Protection of Women Against Sexual Harassment at Workplace. These acts actually has done away with the practice of dowry or domestic violence or sexual harassment, and these provisions have created a favorable environment for protection of women. Further, the representation part of women, also there are a number of things which have taken place. One of the important things is the 73rd and the 74th Constitutional Amendment, which provided for reservation for women up to 33% in the local bodies. This has increased up to 50% in case of Maharashtra. Also, I would like to tell you that there is an act which is pending in Rajya Sabha, which has not yet been passed. Is a bill which provides for 33% reservation for women in the Parliament of India, though it is yet to be approved. There is also a National Commission for Women which ensures protection of women, and any wrongdoing which happens against women, this particular body takes a suo motu action. There are similar commission also at state level. So in short, there are a number of things which government has done in last few years since independence to ensure social justice. For example, policy for reservation of seats for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Act, provision for minorities, and number of legislation for women. In the third section, we will talk about the judicial system, which includes the role of judiciary, the basic framework of constitution, and the significant judicial decisions. Judiciary has played a very important role in strengthening the democracy and helping to make way towards achieving the objectives of social justice and equality. Let us try and understand the contribution of judiciary in this regard. First, the basic framework of the Constitution. As we know, the Constitution is a living document. The Constitution has changed according to the conditions, and the Parliament has the authority to make those changes. However, the judiciary has a role to ensure the changes which are made by Parliament is in line with the expectations of the Constitution makers. Therefore, the judiciary has to take a stand when the Parliament amends the Constitution. It cannot alter the basic structure of the Constitution. I repeat, it is the duty of the judiciary to ensure the Parliament does not alter the basic structure of the Constitution. And in case the Parliament alters the basic structure of the Constitution, the judiciary has the power to overrule the Parliament and declare that particular amendment as non-constitutional amendment. They are unconstitutional amendment. Therefore, we'll have to understand what is the basic structure of the Constitution. It generally includes the provision related to republic and democratic form of the government, the federal structure of the Constitution, promotion of unity and integrity of the nation, sovereignty of the nation, and the secularism and supremacy of the Constitution. Let us also understand the second part, which talks about the significant judicial decisions. It is very important that the Supreme Court protects the fundamental rights of the Constitution. So it is the duty of judiciary to protect the fundamental rights of the Indian citizens. Some of the important subjects on the courts where the courts have given judgment includes the right of children, protection of human rights, individual freedom, tribal empowerment. Of late, the judiciary has also given a Vishaka judgment which empowers or which led to empowerment of women in the parameters related to sexual harassment at workplace. It was the Vishaka guidelines which helped us which helps women in fighting against the sexual harassment at workplace.